it's an uncomfortable experience for a lot of the people that I work with, but yet once something clicks, then it's really freeing, because now you're just being yourself. And just like Chris and I connected, you know, reaching out to Chris and saying, hey, what you doing? And this is who I am. And now I'm here on this call with you guys. That's the power of this digital platform to connect us. And I think we often forget what that means.
So what's you say it's uncomfortable? What characteristically is uncomfortable about it for people?
I think that there's two things. One is the idea that we have to be self-promoting. You know, when we have a profile on any sort of digital space, we feel like that's about ourselves. But really, when you think about it, we're trying to get clients here. We're trying to connect with people who can benefit from what we understand about the world around them, not the world around us. So then what does that mean about your profile? Who's it actually about? It's not about you. It's about your people. And it's the work that you put into that to flesh that out and to understand what that means. And then even before that, we've got to feel comfortable with who we are. So we're looking at that too. And I kind of start like I start with the conversation that this is ultimately moving towards, and our experience. How do we connect our experience to these people that we're going to be working with? And then from there, when we understand that our experience gives us this beautiful connection that we can have right now, we're going to work backwards and figure out how to tell our audience's story and let them see themselves in how we've shown up here on this platform. Yeah, so that was the first part. Sorry, go ahead. Richard, did you have a question?
You said that the profile is not about yourself, it's about the other, it's about outside, it's about the people. So then that word profile, what does it really mean? What does it actually represent? Profile.
I've never thought about that, Richard. I love that.
While you were talking, you know, the profile. Is it a file of me being a pro? Is it something proactively, you know, projecting a file of myself? What does it really mean then? Because I mean, I would imagine it's a twofold thing. It's something that we're showing to people who we are, or a snapshot, or some sort of a file of, you know, of who I am, and so that people can have some sort of a, you know, inkling of who this person is on the other side. But also it's about sharing something about myself so that people can really have a little snapshot of, before they speak with me or connect with you, whoever it is, you know. So I'm just trying to get a little better understanding of your explanation of that.
Yeah.
Profile.
Yeah. Do you mean the definition of the word, or just the way that I think about it?
Well, both. You know, because it just came up to me as you were saying it. The profile is not about yourself; it's about the others, and so it posed that question. Okay, so then it made me like, okay, that's new, but I'd like so that's why that question came up.
Well, let's think about our conversation right now. Like, I'm getting I mean, I already know you to some degree. We haven't had a lot of conversation, but when we first meet, do you dive into talking about yourself? Some people do, but the way that you receive me, the questions that you ask me, your attentiveness, that shows me a lot about you, as opposed to you telling me, this is what I do, X, Y, Z, and this is why I understand everything that you're going through right now. But if you can paint the picture that I'm experiencing right now, I'm in my own story, and I see that you already understand without you having to tell me that you understand. Because as soon as we get into this dialogue of you telling me something in this digital landscape, it's that telling that creates the dissonance. I don't want you to tell me anything about my situation. You don't know me. But if you can paint my picture, that question just kind of floats away. So that's a little bit up here in terms of my response, but the way that we need to inject ourselves in the way that we present ourselves online, but we really want to be mindful of how we're capturing our audience's story. So the headline is a great place to be you and add something of what that means for Richard. And then the bulk of what you're really talking about, I'm going to see who you are based on what you're telling me you understand about me. Or maybe I'm not your target audience, but I can see that you understand those people.
So basically, in the bulk of it is basically you sharing how can you serve, basically how can you help the other. It's really in the bulk of the messaging, the story of the things that you're here to help with. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but taking it even further. So when you look at your profile, how many, like, count the number of I's. I help this, I do this. Count those number of I's versus the number of yous, or the person that you're actually talking to. If you're actually talking to that person and showing them their story, the number of yous is going to be more than the number of I's. That's what you want.
Mm.
So we can show our experience by really, and what we serve, how we help, by saying, this is what you need help with. And listing those things that the people that you want to be working with need help with. And that will resonate with them.
I see.
And by the way, let me just, the definition of the word profile. So it's an Italian word that was apparently created in the 17th century. The original word is profilio, which it's from the verb profilere, and pro means forth, and filare means to spin. Isn't that interesting?
To spin, okay.
To spin or draw a line, which is phylum, which is thread. So spinning forth.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's almost like you're creating a message that you want, or an image that you want people to see. And it's interesting, the context of spinning or drawing a line or a thread. Interesting analysis.
When we kind of think about our relationships, spinning forth that, I like visualizing it that way. Because there's so much, if I can show you your story, the amount of trust that allows you to build with me is much, much higher than if I can't do that. And so I think that there's so much. One of the things that I see is people not really thinking about this place, this thinking about their profile. And not only is it going to give you confidence and clarity that you've shown up as who you actually are, but it's going to allow for that trust to build to then spin forth. Cool, I really like that.
Yeah. So what's striking me is that these days, one of the things that the social media initiative has created is, kind of a flood of people that are, just, hey, look at me, look at me. And it's kind of exercising that narcissistic need, to, hey, look at me, it's about me, right? And I think the key is kind of playing off the context of this discussion. It's about me, but it's about how I can provide value to you as I project that, profile forth into a marketplace, if your intention is to serve, right? I think there's, it's interesting. We talk about social media platform. TikTok is hot these days, right? I don't know if you spend any time on TikTok, but it's really kind of an interesting way for people to just, it's like 15 seconds of fame where they show up and they do something or whatever, talent, wisdom or whatever. And it's just flooded with so much stuff that's, you know, really meaningless, right? But they're kind of profiling themselves in the context they want to show up, you know. Then TikTok, obviously, you know, different from the likes of all the other ones, Twitter, Instagram, you know, LinkedIn. And I know that, Elena, your platform is LinkedIn, right? That's the one that you choose. So what is it about LinkedIn in the context of profiling that makes the difference for you and for the people that you work with?
Really their audience. You know, there's so many questions that we can ask ourselves before we really decide where we want to land. And if you're someone who's looking to connect with other business owners, that B2B, LinkedIn is where your people are. So when your people are here, then this is where you can be too. And there's other reasons to be here, but it's really starting with what you're working towards and working backwards. And I love thinking about it. You know, when we're on LinkedIn, we're pressing the buttons on our mouse. How can we reverse engineer what we want to make sense for us to be clicking our mouse? What does that look like? What does that mean? And I think it really stems from understanding what our grand belief about the world is and that core focus that we have. Because if we don't have that at the forefront of what we're doing, then we're just hunting clients.